Alison Sargent is with me on the set now to take a look at what the papers have been saying today. Hi, Alison.
Hi, Jeannie.
We're going to start with this enormous investigation into the murder of a Maltese journalist last October.
That's right. Who killed Daphne Caruana Galizia? That's what The Guardian and a dozen of other papers all over the world are trying to figure out. They're calling this series of reports the Daphne Project. Just as a quick reminder, Jeannie, Daphne Galizia was a hugely influential Maltese investigative journalist who was killed by a car bomb back in October. Now, this project about her is actually just the first in a series of projects by the group Forbidden Stories, an international network of journalists that is dedicating themselves to continuing the work of other journalists who have been killed or put in jail, basically ensuring that no story gets silenced. And The Guardian today says to stay tuned, really, because in the coming weeks, they'll be continuing Daphne Galizia's work, releasing more stories about corruption and money laundering in Malta.
In the meantime, though, there's been a first wave of revelations that actually focus on the murder case. Tell us about what's been uncovered so far.
Well, the main allegation being made so far in this first round of revelations is that the Maltese government is somehow involved in sort of protecting the identity of the person who was really the mastermind behind this murder. The local paper involved in the Daphne Project is the Times of Malta, and if you look at their front page today, they say police are mostly focusing on the mafia and organized crime, and they report that no politicians have actually been questioned by police. And that's despite the fact that Galizia's husband says that he believes that the mastermind behind her killing is actually someone very close to the government. They also report that the three men who are currently in custody for her murder seem to have been tipped off before they were arrested, which is another sort of strange detail. Now, these reports have been making waves already in Malta since they started coming out yesterday. One politician who's under particular scrutiny is the economy minister, Chris Cardona. You see him there in the local paper, the Malta Independent. He was one of the many politicians who was pursuing Daphne Galizia in court for libel for some of her earlier work. Witnesses told the Daphne Project actually that they saw him drinking with one of the murder suspects at a bar after Galizia's death, but before that suspect was arrested, so sort of strange. As you read here, though, he has furiously denied these allegations and said that they have no foundation in the truth.
Some other big revelations now, Alison, from another paper, from the Washington Post this time.
Right. The Washington Post was the first to report that CIA Director Mike Pompeo and Donald Trump's pick for Secretary of State met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. This meeting happened a few weeks ago, and Trump alluded to it as he sat down with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, saying there had been talks between the U.S. and North Korea held at very high levels. That it would indeed, they were the highest level since 2000, when then Secretary of State Madeleine Albright met with Kim Jong-un's father. Now, really, all over the press, there have been sort of rumblings of preparations for these upcoming summits between North Korea and the U.S. and North Korea and South Korea. And there's an interesting article in the Korea Times about Kim Jong-un's wife, actually, Ri Sol-ju. They report that she's being given a bigger and bigger role as North Korea prepares for these summits. For example, the state news agency used to just refer to her as comrade. Well, now they've begun calling her respected madam. So basically, she's getting bumped up to First Lady status, and if she does attend the Inter-Korean Summit with Kim Jong-un, it would be the first time that the spouses of the leaders from North and South Korea have actually met, because at the previous summits, Kim Jong-un's father didn't bring his wife.
Another word now about another First Lady who's in the news. That's Barbara Bush, who passed away aged 92.
Right, big news in the U.S. today. The conservative tabloid, the New York Post, is paying homage to Barbara Bush on their front page today. They call her First Lady, First Mom, a reference to the fact that she was one of the two women in U.S. history who was both wife and mother of a president, those two George Bushes, of course. Many actually thought of her first and foremost, though, as a grandmother, and she said herself that she believed this was in part because of her white hair. Her hair started going white when her young daughter was sick with leukemia, and then she decided never to dye it. And you can see on this an old cover of Time magazine, they called her a silver fox, and they asked her what her best political advice was, and she said, be yourself, well, maybe someone a little bit nicer. So she was also kind of known for her acerbic wit.
That's a good advice. All right, Alison, just to wrap up now, you've got another American woman who seems to have no problem being herself. That's the former porn star, Stormy Daniels.
That's right, Jeannie. Stormy Daniels has been on a bit of a media blitz lately, along with James Comey, so two sort of thorns in the side side of the American president. And I have a warning, I guess, for you and our viewers that this is the first time I think that we've shown a sexually explicit magazine in the press review, but Stormy Daniels is on the cover of the upcoming issue of Penthouse magazine that's just been revealed. They call her the most wanted woman in America. The main revelation from this exclusive interview is that if she wins her case against the president, she says she plans to donate the $130,000 she allegedly received in hush money to Planned Parenthood, which is an organization that provides health care for women, and that sort of feeds into the argument that some kind of have been making that she's becoming an unlikely feminist icon. On the other hand, though, she is on the cover of Penthouse magazine, which you could say caters to the male gaze. So Stormy Daniels, an ever complex figure.
Indeed, indeed, like that entire story. Thank you so much for that, Allison Sargent, and that look at the papers today. You can get a closer look at the press review, of course, if you want, on our website. That address, France24.com.